Hello and welcome to another video. Last time I did a video like this, it was on what I want to see from the next Zelda game as a huge Zelda fan. This time I'm going to be talking about the next Final Fantasy XIV expansion and what I want to see from that, because I don't know if you know this, but Final Fantasy XIV is my favorite game ever, actually. For the longest time, my favorite game ever was Ocarina of Time. I mean, I think that doesn't come as a surprise to anyone who knows me and has seen some of my older videos, and, you know, I mean, just look at my name, for God's sakes, Linkster. Come on. My history with Final Fantasy XIV is that I played it sometime around 2019. I thought it was pretty fun, but it didn't hook me quite. And then I was playing Burning Crusade Classic, getting kind of bored of it, being like, oh man, you know, I'm just sick of playing World of Warcraft. I've already done this before in the past, you know, and then all the Blizzard controversy came out, that lawsuit, and it's just like, man, I do not want to play this game and support these freaks. And, you know, everyone was hopping train over to Final Fantasy XIV, you know, and it was like a mass exodus. And I was like, you know what, I think I'm gonna go try it out again too. And I played it a little bit last year. I thought it was pretty good. You know, maybe I'll try to dig my teeth into it a little bit more this time. And then I never looked back. I got hooked in. I was like 2 quests away from getting my chocobo, and after that things just kind of took off, because, you know, traversing the world wasn't as slow at that point, and the story was picking up a little bit, and I was just having fun with the game. That's where I come from, okay? That's my experience with the game. I got hooked into it during 2020 when everyone stopped playing World of Warcraft and COVID happened, basically. Anyway, this video is going to be what I want to see from the next Final Fantasy XIV expansion, because as fun as this game can be, and as much as I love it, and as much as I've invested my life into it, Dawntrail was controversial, to say the least. There were parts about it that, you know, even the most diehard fans took issue with, I guess you could say. There's some complaints that I don't really get, like people saying, oh, the game is dying, the player count's going down, oh, it's doomed. Like, the player count is higher than it ever was during A Realm Reborn, Heaven's Ward, Stormblood, just because it hasn't reached COVID plus WoW Exodus levels of height during Shadowbringers that it had. Doesn't mean that, you know, the game's dying or dead. I still run around the game, and I see people all the time. I can get into any end game content in a matter of, you know, not long at all, you know. But, you know, and I still see tons of sprouts running through the game as well. I mean, for God's sakes, there are people playing Final Fantasy XI everywhere. You look, come on now. So I don't really get that complaint, but that's neither here nor there. This is what I want to see from the next Final Fantasy XIV expansion. This isn't the Defend Dawntrail video, but I do think bearing in mind what Dawntrail has done is a good starting point for what I want to see from the next expansion. And to start off with that, I'm going to talk about some story stuff. The first thing I want to see from the next expansion is this is just me. This doesn't have to be how it is. This is just what I personally would like to see. Doesn't mean that I have the best idea in the town. You know, it doesn't mean that I think I should be on the dev team. I'm looking forward to what the dev team does with the story, with the gameplay, all that. This is just some things that I would like to see. They don't have to be there for it to be good, of course. And, you know, maybe my ideas are, you know, I'm full of hot air, and and I don't know what really should happen. This is just something that I want to see. And the first thing is, I want the story to focus on the Scions and those characters that we know and love. And, you know, because new characters are fine and all, but if you're gonna add a new character, you know, make them really interesting, give them a really interesting arc. I don't think Wook Lamont was bad like everyone else seems to. I don't think she was horrible. I don't think she's a terrible piece of shit character. I just think she was kind of boring. She didn't really have much of an arc. Her arc was, you know, gaining confidence in her own strength, you know, was fine. It ain't nothing I ain't never seen before. But other than that, what changed about her personality? Nothing really. At the start of Dawntrail, she talks about how she just wants peace for everyone. And at the end, she's still talking about peace. That's all she wants. That's her whole character. She's nice and she wants everyone to live peacefully together. That's a noble character trait, but seeing a character like Bakul Jaja go from stupid asshole to, oh my god, he's gone through all these horrible things, and you know, now he's changed and he's become a better person. That was a good character arc, and that's why Bakul Jaja was like a lot of people's favorite new character. And I wonder why the dev team seemed so surprised about that. I don't know why they were surprised that everyone liked Bakul Jaja. Did they not want us to like him? They gave him a character arc that was good and interesting and turned him into a nice guy. Why wouldn't we like him? And that's kind of, you know, that's a little concerning. Like, why wouldn't they think we would like him? I don't know. So I think that's a little weird that they thought we wouldn't like him as much as Wuklamot, who doesn't change much at all, really. Change, I think, is one of the strongest things in character writing, and Bakul Jaja changes a lot, and Wuklamot changes very little. She becomes more confident, yes, but who cares? Who cares? I'm sorry. And again, I don't think Wuklamot is bad. I just think that she is pretty basic, really. And I don't get these people who, you know, foam at the mouth and act like she's as bad as, you know, dropping someone into a tub of acid. Like, she's not bad. She's not that bad. Like, Jesus, she's just kind of boring. You know, like, I never found her particularly painful, you know, to sit through her dialogue or anything like that. The voice acting was, you know, a little funny at some parts, like Sphene listened to me, but then they went back and re-recorded that and made it a lot better. So I guess it was probably a problem with the voice direction more than the voice acting. So I think the voice actress did some good voice acting here and there. Even, you know, before some of the re-records, there was a lot of emotion I felt in her voice during the, you know, the middle part when, you know, the city was fucked up or whatever and she was sad. I think that she did a good job there. But you know, some lines again were not delivered well. But and like people talk about Wuklamot's voice acting. Why does no one talk about Y'shtola? It sounded like she was recording in like a broom closet. Like, come on, Y'shtola, what's up with this? And then like I watched Weskalber's video on Dawntrail, and he brings up a good point that the voice direction was clearly not all there. During a scene where someone says a word that Alice should have never heard before, and then she repeats it back to that person and pronounces it in an entirely different way because the voice actors were clearly not in the same room together or given any direction at all for that. I don't know. All I'm saying is for the next expansion, I want more Scions, less new characters. But of course, new characters are welcome and they should exist, obviously. You know, I'm playing the game because I love Alphinaud, I love Alice, I love Estinian, I love Tataru. Where the hell is Tataru, by the way? Where is she? Where is she? Why is she hasn't been cited? You know who else hasn't been cited is Sid. Where the fuck is Sid? Come on now. We're gonna forget about Sid. Here's an expansion full of new technology and no Sid in sight. What? I don't get it, man. Where is he? Where's Sid? Does someone have an answer? Does anyone know where Sid is? Is there a side quest I'm missing? Is there a plot thread I forgot about? Where is he? Where's my boy? Where's Biggs and Wedge? Where are they? Nero, where is he? I don't know, man. Hey, this is Future Linkster here, recording this long after recording the rest of this video. Just wanted to get a little update on this part right here. I like the Scions. Of course I want to see the Scions, but I've seen some arguments that I think are valid too that say that the next expansion should move far away from the Scions. Don't even have them at all. I think that's a pretty valid criticism. We are in the next arc of the story. Most of the Scions, they're pretty much done their character arcs. Like, what can you do with Alphinaud and Alice really at this point? So I think they should go one way or the other. Either have the Scions in it a lot, or just pretty much get rid of them. You know, don't have this like thing where like Estinian shows up for his cameo every 10 hours or something for 5 minutes. One or the other. Don't, you know, do this half-assed bullshit, I guess, is what I want to say. Check out Weskalber's Dawntrail video. It's pretty good. All I remember is when I was playing through the story, I really liked watching Kona grow as a character. And Thinkrit and Urianger were with him, and you know, and that I thought that plot thread was well done for like a little side plot thread that was going on alongside the main one. And then it cuts back, and then you cut back to Wuklamot, and it's like she's not changing at all, like her brother. Like she's just she's just the same, and it's like she's like it's like her cause is noble, and I think she's a good leader and all that, but man, as a character, like, she did not change at all, and like, if we're gonna have a character like her who barely changes, like, I feel like she shouldn't have, I don't know, been as much of the focus in the story. Like, have the Warrior of Light hang out with Kona or something, and, you know, go through his journey, and then cut to Wuklamot being just a good person every now and then, instead of cutting to Kona growing like an actual character every now and then. Like the roles should have been swapped or something. I don't know, man. I don't know how to describe it. You know, I'm not, a storyteller. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm just some guy, but that's just how I felt during the game, at least. Is that, man, I'm really interested in this Kona plotline, this plot thread here, and I'm not really as interested in the Wuklamot one. That's all I could tell you. That's how I felt, at least. But I never, thought that Wuklamot was a bad character, as I've said. Man, this video is gonna be long because this is still my first bullet point and I have several. Anyway, moving on to the next bullet point, I just hope that the story in general is just better. I don't think that the story was particularly bad or anything. It felt like, your typical, oh, help the, next person in succession for the throne win the throne. Like, it's nothing that I haven't seen before, in stories. Do the competition, whatever. It kind of felt like a Disney plotline, which is fitting since Smile sounds like a DCOM song, but whatever. The thing about Dawntrail's story is that I never expected it to be as good as Endwalker, because Endwalker was the big grand finale, and Dawntrail is kind of like in the same boat as A Realm Reborn, where it's like, we're gonna introduce some ideas here and there. We're gonna introduce some concepts. Oh, we'll tease, some stuff like the other reflections. We'll tease a little Ascian stuff here and there. Oh, here's this guy, this little guy that, we're gonna defeat him and set in, the 0.3 patch, and then, oh, here comes the Ascian stuff. He's talking to the Ascians. We're gonna tease some stuff. We're gonna set some stuff up in the next, in 0.4 and 0.5 for the next expansion. And then, the next expansion is gonna pay off all this stuff that we've sprinkled in here and there. A lot, like in the same way that Heaven's Ward paid off a lot of the things set up in A Realm Reborn, some Ascian stuff. The Warriors of Darkness showed up. We're gonna pay off the, the ending where everyone gets, teleported from that magic. I don't remember A Realm Reborn that well, but oh, we're gonna find Thancred. Oh, we're gonna go get Y'shtola, pull her out of the life stream or whatever they call it in this game, the Ethereal Sea. And that's what we're gonna do in this expansion. And so I feel like the next expansion has the potential to be really good in a lot of the same way that Heaven's Ward was. But these expansions do have their own self-contained story as well. Like when you finish it, a story has been told. Heaven's Ward had all the stuff with the dragon. Stormblood had all the stuff with, Lys and Robon and the whatever those guys were. I don't remember Stormblood that well. Shadowbringers had the Other World, Emmett Selk, and then Endwalker had, Meteon and all that stuff. And it tells a complete story, and I feel like the story from Dawntrail, the standalone story that isn't a part of the overall, overarching story going on in the background, I feel like wasn't amazing. It wasn't amazing, so I would like to see the next expansion have its standalone story be something that's, very, very intriguing, very complex, something like that. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want it to be some, story that I've seen 100 times told in a decent fashion, like Dawntrail. I wasn't that interested in. I do think Dawntrail got better after Wuklamot won the throne alongside her brother, because all the stuff with Sphene I thought was pretty good. And that's what I liked about Final Fantasy was, here's like a moral dilemma, here's a moral question. We're gonna explore this part of humanity, that we're gonna explore the fear of death. And I thought that was pretty well handled. It's kind of rough getting to that point because the first half was just kind of, it's just kind of meh. You know, I'm sorry. If you liked it, you liked it. But for me, there's nothing I ain't never seen before, and I wasn't that interested in it. So for the next expansion, I'd love to see something that blows my socks off. I don't know what it could be. I mean, they already have plans. Since they plan these expansions well ahead of time, so I'm looking forward to seeing what it could be. Hopefully something with, you know, another reflection. I'd love to go to another planet, like we did in Shadowbringers, because I think that was fucking awesome, because you can get really creative with it. You can really create a unique atmosphere. I feel like the atmosphere of Shadowbringers is unbeatable. Like the vibes, every time I go back to a Shadowbringers zone for whatever reason, I'm just like entranced in the vibe of the place, you know what I mean? Like it just has such a unique feel to it, because it is another world, you know? Like you open up the map and you're like, man, I'm somewhere else. Just the map, the flora and fauna around you, the damn sky, the music, everything about it has this otherworldly feel. And that's what I really liked about Shadowbringers, so I'd like to feel like that again. Anyway, moving on to the next thing I want to see from the next Final Fantasy XIV expansion. For the next Relic Weapon, I want steps for getting the Relic Weapon that don't make me want to end my own life prematurely. The second step was fine. I haven't seen the third step yet because I'm recording this before it comes out. I don't know if this video will be released before 7.4 comes out, but as of right now, we're in the middle of 7.3. The second Relic Weapon phase was fine. Yeah, you have to grind duty roulettes for like 2 weeks. Who cares? Whatever. I was gonna do my duty roulettes anyway, so it was fine. The first step, though, was annoying as fuck. It didn't take as long for me to do it as the duty roulette stuff. Actually, to be honest with you, I don't think anyway, because I mean, you do the duty roulette stuff, you get your bonus for the day, and then like you can keep doing the duty roulette, but you don't get as much as you do the first time. So it's like, you do your duty roulette once, you log off, you go do something else, you know. But for like the gushers or whatever those gems were, they looked like fruit gushers, so I will call them gushers from now on. The gushers were horrific. Even if they took less time in, days, even if they were technically faster to get, even if they were, easier to grind out, they were way more annoying. My biggest problem with them was like did anyone else have this? I had like 6 like blues or something and like 1 orange. Like, why were oranges so hard to get? There was like 2 or 3 fates that could give you an orange. They never gave an orange, and they never popped either. So I have to go to the fuck-ass desert to grind fates in the desert so that I can get the orange, because you can go to the other Dawntrail areas to get a specific gusher from the fates in that area. So I went to the desert to get the orange, and like there's a ton of people doing fates in the desert, so there's no fates to do. And even if you do it in the middle of the night and there's no one there, it takes like an hour to get one or something. It was so annoying. It pissed me off that I couldn't just trade in, even if it wasn't a 1-to-1. Like, let me trade in 2 extras that I have for 1 that I don't have. You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't I have traded in 2 of my 6 blues for 1 orange or something? Because you don't need more than 3. I thought, man, I wonder if I'm gonna have to collect 3 for every single weapon that I want to get. But no, you just do it once, and then you just use tomestones to get the rest of the weapons. So it's like, what the hell is the point of being able to go over 3 with any of these? You just turn the quest in and you just throw the ones that are extra out. Like, come on now. Like, why couldn't you just swap them for a different gusher? Why can't I give you 2 blues for 1 orange here? You know what I mean? So I feel like for the next Relic Weapon grind, you can keep it grindy, but just make it like not fucking annoying. And if you're gonna do something where you have to collect 3 of each thing, if you give me more than 3 of one of them, let me trade it in to get a different one that I am having trouble getting. I'm getting unlucky with this one, but I got really lucky with this one. I got 10 of them, and I only got one of this one. You know, let me trade them in. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, the next thing that I would like to see from the next Final Fantasy XIV expansion is a reversion of the Black Mage changes. I'm a Black Mage main. One of the things I loved about Black Mage from starting in Shadowbringers and playing in Endwalker was you have long-ass cast times, and you want to be moving as little as possible, so you have to really have good fight knowledge, and you really got to know, it pays well to know the fights that you're doing and to learn them well, and it feels amazing when you're able to perfectly execute your rotation and everything. You know what I mean? Like the long cast timers, the punishing astral phase timer that rewarded a good job knowledge, good fight knowledge, actually gave you a reason to want to use spell speed materia instead of crit. Like it was amazing. It was beautiful. It was fantastic. And in 7.0, the job was the best that it's ever been. It was so fun. At the start of Dawntrail, 7.2 comes around. Here's a rework because fuck you and fuck you if you like Black Mage and how it plays now. We're gonna make it the easiest mage job to play all of a sudden for some fucking reason. Goodbye long cast times. Now everything is, you know, under the global cooldown timer. Your ley lines don't last that long anymore because, you know, you don't want to be standing in them too long. Like what was the problem? Like it was fine the way it was. Like the fact that Despair became instant cast made, you know, like it used to, you know, be a long cast time, right? Like Fire 4, and it was sometimes hard to fit in, you know, Despair plus something else after your Paradox, unless you had really high spell speed. But the instant cast Despair made it much easier to not drop your Astral Fire timer. So I don't understand what the problem was, why they needed to make it even easier after the instant cast Despair. Instant cast Despair was the greatest thing I've ever seen, and now like I'm wondering what the point of it even is now, other than here's more movement. Like not like you need it. Your cast time isn't even long anymore. Like I don't know, man. Like people talk about job identity and stuff like that, and I feel like every job really, you know, has their identity to at least some extent, but I feel like Black Mage just doesn't really have it much anymore. I identify Black Mage's job identity as being long cast times, turret mode, easy to play if you're, you know, easy to pick up, but like really hard to actually get good with, really hard to do, you know, hard to master basically. Like it rewarded good gameplay, good fight knowledge, playing it well was rewarding. You know, like I don't think anyone who was actually a Black Mage main was complaining about the job at all. Like anyone who was complaining about the job wasn't a Black Mage main, so why are we even listening to them? Everyone who was a Black Mage main was like, wow, this job is the funnest it's ever been. But now it's like, well, now it's easier than Red Mage? Why is it easier than Red Mage now? You know what I mean? Like I was willing to sacrifice optimizing my Red Mage materia if I could, you know, because Red Mage wants crit, but I would always be having spell speed because I played Black Mage. Now it's like, well, now I don't have to worry about that, I guess. So I guess that's a positive. But like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that they should revert the Black Mage changes. I really do. They're talking about like how the fight design just doesn't fit Black Mage anymore. And I'm just sitting there like, what are you talking about? If you're really worried about that, why don't you give us a third charge of triple cast? Like whatever, man. Like what do you mean that the fights are too, you know, don't allow Black Mage to play well anymore? Like I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't get it. I don't understand these changes. They were pointless to me. You know, like when I first saw them, I was confused. I was like, huh? Why or what? And I played it and I'm like, wow, this is so easy and I'm doing so much damage. This is awesome. But you know, every day now I'm like, I kind of miss the old Black Mage. because it was awesome. It was amazing. Those long cast times. When you dropped your ley lines and it actually felt like they did something meaningful, and because they did. And like you could triple cast your Fire 4s, and you know, since your Fire 4s cast time was longer than the global cooldown, triple cast actually made you cast faster. And now it's like, and so like there was like subtle optimization there that you could do in your opener, where you like drop your ley lines and you use triple cast on your Fire 4s to have, and you're pumping out huge damage really quickly. And now it's like, whatever, save your triple cast for movement, I guess. Not that you needed to use it all the time, since you get so many charges of Xenoglossy. Paradox is instant cast, Despair is instant cast, Fire 3 is instant cast. After you use Paradox, you can, you know, use Transpose to get an instant cast Paradox. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is I preferred the old Black Mage. Hey, Future Linkster here again. Just another thing on this point. I've seen some people, you know, when I'm doing like an alliance raid or something, someone will say, how's the new Black Mage? And there'll be a lot of people who say, oh, it's fun now. And it just annoys me so much, you know, because Black Mage was not the most beloved job. It was probably the least played, I think. But the people who liked it really liked it. They liked the long cast times. They liked how punishing dropping your fire phase was. That's what made the job fun and rewarding for people. And I don't think making it easier so that more people can play it was the right call. And so it just saddens me when people say, oh, it's good now. It was perfect before, and now it's just easy like all the other caster jobs. So I don't get it, man. I don't get it. You know, I'm a ride or die Black Mage main. I still play Black Mage even though I, you know, don't really like the changes that much, but whatever. I've actually been playing a lot of Samurai recently because Samurai, I feel like, has a really good job identity. It's kept its job identity. People talk about Kaiten was Samurai. I don't think Kaiten was Samurai. I think Samurai was a triple combo, and your flowers give you different things to do. That, you know, that's Kaiten is not Samurai. Samurai is Midare Setsugeka and a bunch of really powerful off global cooldowns that you get every now and then, and you know, and meditate. That's Samurai. Dragoon's job identity is being really busy and being a train that doesn't stop for anyone. 2 5-part combos and a bunch of off global cooldowns that you're constantly getting. Dragoon's very busy, and then they toned down how busy it was from Endwalker, which I don't really get why, but whatever. I don't, you know what I don't understand? At the start of Dawntrail, you had 3 Nastrond charges after Gerskogul. But now there's only 1. I don't know why. That was a weird change to me. Whatever. Dragoon is still fun as hell. I think it still has a pretty strong job identity. But you know, speaking of jobs, job homogenization is a topic that comes up a lot. I don't think it's as big of a deal as everyone makes it out to be, but you know, but maybe this is being nitpicky. I don't think that Dragoon needed a gap closer. Like, it feels like everyone is getting a gap closer. Like Samurai has it, Monk has it, and now Dragoon has it too. You know, like most of the tanks have it, I think. I don't know. I've only played Warrior so far. I am starting my tank journey, but because I haven't actually played any of the tanks because I was always scared. But I've gotten over that fear now, and now I'm playing Warrior. I wanted to start easy, you know. So I don't think that, you know, we need all these gap closers. I don't think every job needs, you know, some ability that heals the party. You know, mitigation is fine. You know, that's fine. Like, you know, I like how Reaper has that shield that, you know, if it breaks, you put like a heal on everyone. I think that's kind of cool. But, you know, not every job needs to feel, you know, super similar, I don't think. I do think that having an identity is strong, and I don't think Dragoon needed a gap closer, and this is being very nitpicky. I will admit that. I don't think job homogenization is as big of a deal in this game as it was, say, in World of Warcraft. I don't know, when were jobs really homogenized in that game? Mr. Pandaria, everyone had access to everything. I don't remember. I don't know, I didn't play during Mists of Pandaria, so don't ask me. You know, it was a big deal in that game for a lot of people, and then Legion gave everyone really good class identity. Anyway, that's going off topic. I don't think Dragoon needed a gap closer. You can use Dragonfire Dive, you can use Star Diver. You can use your amazing backflip to, you know, gap close. You just turn around and you backflip. And you know, that was skill expression. If you saw a Dragoon pull that off successfully, that was really good. And then it was really funny when you saw bad Dragoons, you know, backflip to their deaths, you know, fall off a cliff or whatever. Like, that was really funny. And now I don't get to see that as much anymore because now they have a gap closer. That's just sad, I think. But, you know, I use it. I don't, you know, of course I'm going to use it when I play Dragoon, but I don't think that Dragoon needed it. That's just something that it's, you know, to think about, you know, going forward. You know, don't homogenize the jobs too much in the next expansion. Don't give everyone access to everything. Like, if I start seeing, we've decided to give Pictomancer a battle res, I'll be like, why? Even though you kind of could make it work, right? Like, they draw a pic, like, oh, their battle reses, they draw a picture of you and now you're back to life. You know what I mean? Like, you could make it work. Where am I going with this? Yeah, I don't think job homogenization is a big thing right now, but it is something to be mindful of, to be thinking about for the next expansion. I don't want to see it in the next expansion, and I don't think it's as big of a deal right now as some people make it out to be, at least. But yeah, anyway, that's what I have to say about that, I guess. I don't know. I'm just an idiot, you know? I'm just spitballing here. And the next thing I want to see in the next Final Fantasy XIV expansion is, you know, a little change to the AI of the duty support and trust NPCs. Why do they, like, not do AoE at all? You know, like, if you go through a duty support as a tank and you want a wall-to-wall pull, like, it just takes forever to kill all the goddamn guys because the NPCs are, like, attacking one guy at a time. It's, like, so annoying. And, like, the healers in duty support suck. Even if you're playing a freaking, you know, a DPS, and, you know, you run over to the next group of enemies to pull them for the duty support tank, the healer can't keep up, and the tank ends up dying, and then you die, and then you're sent back to the beginning. And that's really annoying, because I like to do the trust for the new content whenever it's available, because I want to see the stuff at my own pace, want to see the boss mechanics firsthand from doing the trust and learn them before subjecting a group of living, breathing human beings to my stupidity or whatever, you know what I mean? And in Dawntrail they made the dungeons kind of hard. Some of those bosses are kind of hard, so I think, you know, doing the trust doing the trust first is very nice. But, like, why can't we pull? Why is it so hard to pull more than one group of enemies without the trust healer? Like, come on, Alphino. You're sucking ass here. What are you doing? Anyway, that's kind of a nitpick, because, you know, you only do the trust once, and then you're doing it with real breathing human beings every other time, so it doesn't really matter. But that's just a little thing that I'd like to see, you know, maybe become a little bit different in the next expansion. Back to the jobs, I want to talk about healers real quick. I think healers in general need some kind of overall rework. I don't know if that's I don't know whether that's through giving healers more damage buttons, you know, like an actual 1-2-3 combo or something. I don't know if that's through removing some of their healing buttons because they have so many and they don't need that many 99% of the time unless they're doing hard content. I don't know if that's changing fight mechanics so you actually need all those healing buttons. I don't know if the healers need some kind of rework in the form of tanks being reworked to tone down their self-sustain, so that, you know, healers actually have something to do when they're grouped up with a warrior, or, you know, some combination of all of these things. But healers right now are in a state where they're kind of boring to play unless you're playing, like, doing Savage or Ultimate, right? Because here's what happens unless you're doing the Alliance raid or the raids on the day they come out. Here's what happens. You queue up as a healer, the boss does a raid wide, you click one off GCD AoE heal, and then you forget about healing and go back to spamming your one button that does damage. Oh, and keeping your dot up, of course. Very exciting, keeping your dot up. Like, I actually like the fact that they gave Sage a button in Dawntrail that only does damage and nothing else, because, you know, it's fun to do big damage, and I like that. I like being able to press that button. Sage right now is probably my favorite healer to play. In general, it's just, you know, because you have a lot of tools that you can work with, but it doesn't feel too overbearing. Like, you know, like Astrologian feels kind of overbearing sometimes with all the buttons you have, especially when 4 of them are being taken up by cards. Actually 5, because one of them is draw, right? God, Astrologian pisses me off. I started in Shadowbringers, and Astrologian, I had a lot of fun with it, leveling it up for a while in Shadowbringers. I really liked how you could, you know, be flexible on the spot. You could, like, swap to being more of a regen healer or being more of a shield healer. I thought that was really cool, you know. A really cool, unique thing about Astrologian. Here comes Endwalker. Well, we added another shield healer. Now our only dedicated regen healer is White Mage. We could just not do anything to Astrologian and keep it the same, and then if they get paired up with a White Mage, they go shield, and if they get paired up with a Sage or a Scholar, they go regen. But no, instead we're gonna remove that unique, fun thing about Astrologian that made it special, and we're gonna make it a dedicated regen healer. Cause clearly it's not fair to White Mage. Poor White Mage alone as the only dedicated regen healer. What? Who cares? It was great. Astrologian was great, and then in Endwalker, they ruined it. They ruined it, I tell you. And they changed how the cards work every expansion. Like, Jesus Christ! Like, do you guys not know what to do with this class or what? Like, you know, like they change Monk every expansion too. They don't know what the hell to do with Monk, man. I hate Monk. I can't play Monk. I hate the way it plays. I think right now it's actually in the most playable state for me that it's been in. Maybe a Monk main would growl at me for saying that, but if I was going to play Monk, now would be the time, but I am not really interested in Monk that much, to be honest with you, and I have not leveled it up to 100, sorry to say. But anyway, Astrologian, I don't know, Astrologian, I just don't like the way it plays. They'll probably rework it again. You know, don't get comfy if you're an Astro main, because they're gonna change it again, probably. Sinistry, is this a button anyone ever uses? I don't use it. I sure as hell don't use it. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Who cares? It's unnecessary. Maybe I'm not a very good Astrologian. Maybe that's the problem, you know? Maybe that's the problem, is that I'm just not good at it. You know, I just don't like how it plays. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. I wish they would stop changing it at least. You know, like, just pick something that you want to do with it. I liked how it was very RNG in Shadowbringers. You never knew what card you were gonna get. But now, like, it's less RNG, and I don't know, I feel like that was part of the whole, you know, aesthetic of Astrologian, was that RNG, but maybe that's just me. I feel like that's what made it fun as well, but again, maybe that's just me. Either way, healers need a rework in general, because, you know, every encounter is just wait for the raid wide, and then you click your off GCD AoE, wait for the tank buster, click your off GCD single target heal, whatever, unless you're doing, you know, Savage or, you know, Ultimate. But for any casual, you know, most people, healing is just so boring, because you're just clicking glare, 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 dia, glare, 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 you know what I mean? And, you know, if you're lucky, you can get a Blood Lily in there, or 2, if you're really lucky. I don't know, I feel like they should give every healer an AoE dot, like Scholar and Sage have it now. I know White Mage used to have it back in the day, before I started playing. I'd love to see it come back, because that would be cool. I do love Holy, I'll tell you that. I do love Holy, but you only use it in AoE, so for boss fights, it's time to glare, baby. Like, you know, I feel like they should really, for Sage, Sage is fun, don't get me wrong, but I was expecting, when I heard a healer that heals by doing damage, I was expecting something like, you know, Discipline Priest from World of Warcraft. It's not quite like that, though. You know, what I would like to see from Sage is like a complex DPS rotation. You know what I mean? Some kind of complex DPS rotation that does heal as you deal damage. Like have Cardion on the tank, and you do your DPS rotation, and then like you have a couple you know, off, and like it heals the tank when you complete a rotate. I don't know, just something, man. I don't know what I'm talking about. Clearly, I'm not working on the game. You know, I was expecting something, you know, a little more complex than Dosis, occasionally Phlegma, every now and again Numa, and now every now and again Psyche or Psyche. Whatever. You know, I was expecting something a little more complex. I don't know. Like Gunbreaker is a tank that plays like a DPS. Why couldn't Sage have been a healer that plays like a DPS? I don't know. I felt like that. I feel like that would have been cool. Food for thought, I guess. Either way, healers need some kind of rework in the next expansion. I don't know what that's gonna look like. Maybe it'll be as simple as removing tanks self-sustain so that they actually that it's actually necessary for healers to be in your dungeon. But I feel like you can't get rid of Paladin's clemency, so I don't know how you gonna deal with that. They gotta do something though. Because healing is just kind of boring most of the time. I don't know. I enjoy healing. I enjoy being a healer. You know, I play Marvel Rivals. I play a healer in that game sometimes. Mostly because no one wants to play it. But yeah, I enjoy the idea of being the guy who keeps everyone alive, keeps the fight going. He helps out the party. I enjoy that. But man, can it be boring. It's exciting. It's exciting sometimes. When a new raid comes out, it can be exciting. The most fun I ever had in this game probably was the first few days that Juno came out. I ran through there the day it came out on, I think, my Black Mage, probably. I mean, almost certainly. And it was just chaos. It was amazing. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. It was so fun. Because no one knew what the hell to expect, and we were wiping like crazy. I mean, damn, when we got to Fafnir, that was a hell of a fight, I'll tell you that much. And Shadow Lord, Jesus. Whew, Shadow Lord, let me tell you. That little Yu-Gi-Oh boy in Sandoria, and he ain't got nothing on Shadow Lord, I'll tell you that. So yeah, I'd love to see some sort of healer rework to make it more interesting. Just make it more interesting. Make it more fun to play. Just add, you know, a couple more DPS buttons. Make healing more necessary. I don't know, do something. Do something. I mean, people have been talking about this since Endwalker. People probably been talking about this since Shadowbringers. But I wasn't hearing about it, I'll tell you that. I really started hearing about it in Endwalker though. Anyway, the last thing, and this is kind of important actually. Last thing I want to talk about is how most jobs aren't fun until like level 80. Some jobs can get fun around 60, you know, 70, but I feel like most jobs in general don't really feel like they're playing super awesomely until like level 80. Like if you do an alliance raid and you go to the Crystal Tower, you're kind of like, ugh, Crystal Tower again. I'm level 50. I don't have any of my cool abilities. I don't have any of the abilities that I really like. This is just kind of boring. You get to the Heavensward alliance raids and you're just like, God, I don't want to be here because they suck, first of all. But second of all, you know, things aren't too interesting at 60. They're a little more interesting than 50. I mean, at least you have Fire 4 on Black Mage at that point. Having Fire 1 only at level 50 is just so boring. If you get to the Stormblood Alliance raids, you're like, man, I'm surprised that I'm even here, first of all. Second of all, you know, it's all right. It's all right. If you get into one of the near raids, you're like, well, here goes the next hour of my life. And but then also things are fun. Endwalker, things even more fun. Dawntrail, things are amazing. I feel like jobs play really well at level 100. But like, think about this from the perspective of a Sprout. You're coming into the game as a Sprout. You're going through a Realm Reborn, and you know, no matter what expansion you joined in, a Realm Reborn leveling is not gonna be that exciting, probably. I don't know how it was when a Realm Reborn was all you had, but it was not that exciting during Shadowbringers either. You know, this isn't a new problem, I don't think. Like, you go through a Realm Reborn, that takes you a long time, and jobs aren't fun. You have to go through all of Heavensward now, and which caps out at 60. At least all the content does. So, you know, you're playing through all of that, and depending on your job, you could be having a pretty decent time, or you could be having a pretty boring time. And then you have to go through all of Stormblood, caps out 70, and it's a little bit better. And then you go through Shadowbringers finally, and then your job is actually fun by the time you finish Shadowbringers. And so this is gonna be like hundreds of hours of game time, probably, unless you're rushing through it, that you're spending not really playing the jobs at their full funness potential, I guess you could say. Like, you have to go through a Realm Reborn, you have to go through Heavensward, you have to go through Stormblood, you have to go through Shadowbringers, you have to go through Endwalker, and then you have to go through Dawntrail to get to Endgame to actually play your jobs as they're intended for this expansion. And that's rough. That is rough. I don't know what the solution is. It's just gonna get worse as more expansions get added to the game. Like, the best solution that I've come up with so far, and even this isn't foolproof because eventually there'll be so many expansions that even this won't really work that well, but I feel like you give jobs like 90 or more % of their toolkit by level 50. And then you give them one spell every 10 levels, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110 by the next expansion. So you give them one spell, or you make one of their spells become something else, right? Every 10 levels. That way they can have fun with the bulk of their job and how it's supposed to play, even if you're doing level 50 content, but they still have something to look forward to for their job as they level up, which is important in an MMORPG. But I don't know, having only one thing to look forward to every 10 levels, that's kind of rough too. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I'm not a genius. I'm just coming up with a possible solution, but maybe that's not the best solution. I feel like this is something that the dev team should definitely be very considerate of for the future. And I think they will be, because, I'm not the first person to mention this problem, right? So, I wonder what they'll do in the future. Anyway, here's some of the things about Dawntrail that I really liked, and I hope they continue to iterate on and improve upon in the next expansion as well. I love the battle content. I think the dungeons being a little bit more difficult has been a resounding success. They're still not hard, but they are definitely more enjoyable. Some of the best dungeons that I've seen in a long while. The newest level 100 dungeon, that fight where you split off into four, where it's like four bosses and they chain you up and put you in your own little arena based on if you're DPS, healer, or tank. I think that's really fun. I really enjoy that. That's like one of my favorite bosses ever. It always feels good to beat the other DPS at, killing the boss first. So I think the dungeons have done really well. I think they've been amazing. I think the raids have been among the best ever, to be honest with you. I really like what's her name, Sugar Riot. I really like the frog guy. I'm just jamming to his song while kicking his ass. It's so fun. Definitely some of the best raids ever. Really good music, of course, as always, for them as well. And every time I do normal raids roulette on my duty roulette and I get into a Heavensward raid, I'm just like, oh god, why? And if I get a Dawntrail one, I'm like, hell to the yes. And then if I get a Stormblood one, I'm like, oh god, I don't remember anything. Where am I? And I never get Shadowbringers. Sometimes I get Endwalker, but I never get Shadowbringers raids, which is really sad. Some of them are really good, And if I ever do get one, it's always the one with that damn shadow dog. Anyway, the Alliance raids, definitely my favorite they've ever done. They're so good. I love the Final Fantasy XI Alliance raids. They're so good. I thought nothing was gonna beat my love for the Nier raids, but goddamn, these Final Fantasy XI raids are so good. I love Prish so much. I don't know if that's how you say it. Prishay? I don't know. Have they ever said it in voice acting? I don't remember. But I love her. She's amazing. I loved her so much that it made me want to go play 11, and I will make a video about 11 sometime because I have played 11 and it's long. It's long and it's slow, but I'm enjoying it greatly, and I will make a video about it at some point in the future. But the fact that this Alliance raid made me want to go play an entirely different game, it was so good. You know what I mean? They're just so fun. Every boss has been just a blast. Fafnir, one of my favorites now. I love the battle against all those guys, and you split up based on alliance. I mean, they've done stuff like that before, right? But that battle is a blast. And then you AoE them down at the end, and it feels so good. Shadow Lord is crazy fun. Prish herself is fun, and her voice lines make me crack up.
How about we start with a big fat knuckle sandwich?
Sandoria. I don't think Sandoria was as good as Juno, but I do enjoy it a lot as well. The Omega and Ultima fight is really fun, for example. So, I think the battle content in general has been fantastic in Dawntrail. So I hope that they continue to be fantastic in the next expansion as well, and I think they probably will be. You know, they've never really let me down on that front. Maybe Heaven's Word was a bit for that, but it was still enjoyable. Of course, the soundtrack, as ever, is amazing. I love you, Soken. Please marry me, Soken. I want to give you a big smooch. And I'm sure the soundtrack will be amazing the next expansion as well, because Soken is he's just the best ever, isn't he? And I'm hopeful for the story in the next expansion. I feel like the story content post 7.0 has been pretty good. I really like Sphene. People talk about how bad Wuklamad is, but like I feel like nobody ever really mentions, you know, Bakul Jaja, Kona, Gululja, Sphene, Otis, Shale, and you know, I look at them and I'm like, wow, I love these characters. But you know, people talk about how Dawntrail is just like bad, and like there's the story's so bad, the characters all suck, and I'm like, are you just talking about Wuklamad? Because I'm looking at these other characters and they're pretty damn good, and you know, not even mentioning Aaronville and Kryl, who are also really good. Kryl is one of my favorite characters in the whole damn game, and you know, she had a pretty big role this expansion. I do wish there was more Kryl, in fact. But anyway, that's my ramble, that's my rant. The next Final Fantasy XIV expansion, I hope it's good, I hope it's amazing. I think it will be pretty good, I think it will be pretty amazing. At least I hope so. I mean, did you see the live letter for 7.4? They got rid of the glamour restriction. These developers clearly know what the players want. They're clearly in tune. That, you know, like people like act like they've lost hope in these developers, but they love this game just as much as we do, and I have hope that they will deliver an amazing expansion next time, even if the story of Dawntrail was, you know, below a lot of people's expectations and hopes and desires. But I don't think you can say that the battle content has been bad. I think the battle content has been really, really good. So there's that. I mean, there's always things to complain about. Like, I could complain about, oh, you know what? I just thought of this. Here's another thing I'd like to see in the next expansion, is I would like to see the weekly Tomestone Cap go up from 450. Why is it only 450? It takes 2 weeks to get a shirt or pants. It's ridiculous. 2 full weeks to get the Tomestone shirt. Why? Like, if you try to gear multiple jobs with tomestones, go fuck yourself, because you can't. You just can't. We add new jobs every expansion. Tomestone Cap still 450. You pick a main and you level and you give them tombstone gear. Your side jobs, you give them the lesser tombstone gear or normal raid gear. Unless you're a hardcore player, then you give your main job, you know, the savage gear or whatever. But you know, I don't do hard raids. I don't have any sort of social life or social skills, so I just do the normal stuff. And getting gear for my main job takes so long, it's ridiculous. They gotta raise the Tomestone Cap. I don't care if they just raise it by 50. Ideally, I'd love to see them double it, but I know that's probably asking for too much, even though I really don't think it's asking for too much, to be honest. But whatever. I'd love to see that go up. Anyway, that's about all I have for you. I'm looking forward to the next expansion. It should be announced within the next half year. Wasn't Dawntrail announced between 6.4 and 6.5, so imagining we're gonna see an announcement sometime in, I don't know, February, March, I don't know. Just a prediction. Maybe I'm off the mark. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm forgetful. Maybe I'm stupid. But we should be seeing an announcement of the next expansion soon-ish. In terms of the greater scheme of things, it's not actually soon, but you know, if you take a look at all of history, it's pretty soon. I'm delirious. I'm going to go drink some water to soothe my aching throat that I've destroyed by talking for so long, and then I'm going to go to bed. Thank you for watching. Leave some things down in the comments that you'd like to see from the next Final Fantasy XIV expansion down in the comments below. I feel like I said down in the comments multiple times there. Either way, I'll see you again soon. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Oh, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.